After decades in law enforcement, I know the importance of safety and security, especially at our border.
Trump or Kamala, what do you think? Trump or Kamala Harris?
Oh, God, it's Kamala, definitely.
Yes?
1,000%. Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite thing Kamala's done in the last 4 years?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Actually, don't use this.
Oh, Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, Kamala.
Kamala, why?
Well, she's honestly, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super knowledgeable, so I can't really speak too much on it.
Because Trump sucks ass.
Yeah, pretty much same thing.
I've been doing my research lately, so I ain't 100% yet, so I can't answer that yet.
That's a no-brainer.
All right.
She's a woman. She's a woman.
Yes. How's it been selling? How's it been selling? Good?
I don't know. We just had a bunch of police that told us to burn our shirts.
Now, we can't say that every Trump supporter knows or even remembers what he did during his term, but it's alarming to see and hear people who are all behind Harris and yet are completely unaware of what she's been doing these last 4 years. However, some of Donald Trump's own colleagues are saying that there's no place in the White House for him and that voting for him would be the worst case scenario for the United States. And guys, before we get started, just want to thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, and for sharing this video. Let's get started.
Donald Trump has suffocated the soul of the Republican Party. His fundamental weakness has coursed through my party like an illness, sapping our strength, softening our spine, whipping us into a fever that has untethered us from our values.
He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth. He used to tell me, "It doesn't matter what you say, Stephanie. Say it enough and people will believe you."
His actions disqualified him from ever stepping foot into the Oval Office again.
Note that these Republicans spoke at the DNC, which in essence is kind of them giving their full endorsement to Kamala Harris since they just don't like Trump. And Senator Tom Cotton was on ABC News to talk about the distinct difference between the two, noting that the vice president has made it extremely difficult for the American people to know what's on their mind. To date, Kamala Harris hasn't had a single interview with tough questions about her stand on different policies. This is the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, and yet we're all supposed to just listen to mainstream media for her policies. And besides that, she's also flip-flopped many times on major issues because Americans have made their own choices very clear when it comes to specific concerns. Here's what he had to say about those within their own party who are vocal detractors of the former president.
What I make of them is that Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. But what most Americans remember is that for 4 years when Donald Trump was president, we had peace and prosperity. Everything's gone to hell under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over the last 4 years. And that's a clear contrast we have. This is an unusual presidential election because Donald Trump has been president before. The American people know what he did. They know that he understands the kind of pain they've suffered for the last 4 years under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And I think that's why they're ready to return Donald Trump to the White House.
But there seemed to be a clear strategy on the part of the Democrats to try to appeal to the Republicans. And of course, Donald Trump has absolutely solid support in the Republican base. But there are a lot of Republicans uneasy with him as the nominee again, and they seem to be going right at them.
Well, in every election, John, you have some members of one party endorsing a candidate of the other party. That's a very traditional aspect of American politics. I mean, look at what just happened this week. The Democratic Party under Kamala Harris has gone so far to the left that you actually had a Kennedy endorse a Republican. That's pretty remarkable that the Democratic Party has become so radical under Kamala Harris that a member of the Kennedy family has come out to endorse a Republican.
And Tom Cotton, he makes a good point here. There are many Democrats who feel left out by their own party, many of which feel as if they're now leaning extremely far to the left, which is exposing the fact that Donald Trump is the moderate option out of the two. Cotton also called out Kamala Harris for far left policies that she wanted to implement when she was running for president years ago. Policies that are now off the table because it may have led to her being incredibly unpopular during the presidential race.
And President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars. confiscating firearms.
What,
These are all
what do you
positions
mean
that-
taking away health insurance? What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job.
Well,
170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, I mean that is not her position now. She
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean, she says she no
She
longer
has not said that.
supports
She has not said
Medicare
that.
for all.
She has not said that. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that, but the last thing that she said
But
on
this was
most
not
of
a
these topics-
radical convention. I mean, she, as you heard me go through with Bernie Sanders, she is not taking the positions of the far left of her party. She's clearly making an effort to move to the middle.
I did hear what you said to Senator Sanders, and I thought it was clear that he's very disappointed that she's taking these efforts not to change her positions, but to hide her positions, John. The American people are totally justified to conclude that Kamala Harris is a dangerous San Francisco liberal based on what she campaigned on the last time she ran for president and what this administration has done for the last 4 years. Again, you would have thought watching the Democratic convention last week that the Democrats are not in office, that they're not in power, that they're campaigning against an incumbent Republican, when in reality, she's been part of the failures of the Biden-Harris administration for 4 years.
It's just insane to think that this journalist didn't even bat an eye when Cotton talked about illegal immigration being decriminalized. It's kind of like they actually support illegal aliens flooding our country. The same could be said for all the other policy positions that she had back when she was running for president. But we're supposed to believe that she's suddenly changed her mind? Is it because she saw the merit in reviewing these policies? Or is it because her positions from back then were just so unpopular? And since she needs to win the election, she's now having this message spewed out by liberal media so as to make voters believe that she's always held the same outlook as many Americans. I'm gonna go ahead and call bull on that. And this guy from ABC News got owned so badly that he suddenly shifted within his interview and said, well, let's just talk about Trump now. The reality, folks, guys, is that Kamala Harris has and will always pander to her audience. We've heard her do it by changing her accent completely. What makes any of us really think that she wouldn't do the same for policies as well? The danger, though, is that she's not going out and saying it herself, which means that she could easily switch it up if she's voted into the White House and then just kind of go back to far left policies. And it also shows us the role that these mainstream media news outlets are playing during this presidential campaign. They're here to defend Harris and her stance on different issues. And it's the main reason as to why she hasn't bothered with a single sit-down interview. The media is already glazing her, so there's no point in answering questions that Americans are asking. And speaking of which, the shift from these networks has been pretty huge when it comes to Donald Trump. They all loved him when he wasn't trying to run for president. In fact, I did a previous video, guys, that shows you exactly how many of them wanted him to run for office. I know, it's hard to believe now, but they once wanted Donald Trump to run for office. One person in particular would be Oprah. And yet we saw Oprah at the DNC supporting VP Kamala Harris, silently stabbing Donald Trump in the back, a friend of hers at one point in the past. So make sure you guys set some time aside to watch that one because it goes deep into the contrast of how they treat people based on their beliefs. But as always, guys, I just want you guys to stay informed. Thanks so much for being here and keeping yourselves informed. Thank you for hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this video. I'll see you on the next one.